Women's empowerment is a cornerstone of successful development strategy. That's what it's all about, and we know from experience that it will make the difference. That will empower the rest of the communities to do what needs to be done, and that will change not just that community, but it changes the world. We just have to keep working at that, and we need to engage with all of you, because that is your focus, in making sure that they're successful and that you measure the kind of aid that's received.
And this panel today can enlighten us with their findings on work to support women globally. And I appreciate you all being here. Thanks for coming to Washington.
My name is Sarah Emerson, and I'm joining you as the director of PCI's Women Empowered Initiative. It's a savings-led social and economic empowerment program that's really focused on the most vulnerable and improving livelihoods and achieving PCI's mission through empowering women. It's really a pleasure to have the opportunity to be with each of you today, as well as have the opportunity on the Hill and to address our Congress on the topic of measuring the hard to measure, looking at what is empowerment, how do we measure it, what are the opportunities, what have been the challenges, and what's the way forward.
And I think that many of you are aware that there has been a lot of progress. Many more girls are in school now, many more girls in primary school, and many more girls are going to secondary school, finishing high school. So the gap there, actually over the past 10 years, has closed to within 5 percentage points. So this has been quite well documented. But what we also know that this hasn't necessarily translated into broader gains. And so the notion around empowerment, about whether or not women have decision-making capabilities within their homes, within their communities, whether they're able to inherit and own land, whether or not they're able to start businesses. We know that there are a number of constraints which affect how that can happen. I think we are at an important juncture on the gender agenda, insofar as I think the advocacy war has pretty much been won. And so now the onus is on having evidence. What can we do? How can we do it?
We know that helping women to become equal players in household financial decisions translates into more and better investments in health and education for children. We know that healthier, better educated children grow up to be healthier, more productive adults with better employment prospects. And in that way, they're able to break intergenerational cycles of poverty. We also know that educated girls marry later and have fewer children on average, thereby also improving their economic circumstances as adults. And so measuring these kinds of outcomes is important, because while we know it's so critical to achieve them, we don't always know the best way to get there. We have to really rigorously test not only what works, but exactly why and how it works. We have a great responsibility to our beneficiaries, first and foremost, but also, of course, to our donors to get it right.
We talk a lot nowadays about what we call implementation science, trying to marry together, the really good, high-quality, effective implementation of programming with science, with research, with evaluation.
Most recently, we've been developing our Lives Changed indices, specifically focused on measuring the social and economic impact of our programming on women.
This Life Changed indices has a series of 7 components, and it covers things from poverty to education to health to nutrition and food security to gender and social capital. And the idea is to measure across these various components so that we can understand, again, the interrelation and the complexity a little bit better. And then, of course, applying it in the Women Empowered Initiative, because we know that women are such important, critical agents of social transformation that we had to understand it with women. But it's something that we're interested in across the spectrum, not just with women and girls.
I think when we're talking about social impacts, and we've heard how poverty is complex and the results are complex, so we need slightly more patient investment in being able to measure and understand these kinds of results. We know a few things now that definitely do work, but we've also helped identify through looking at research in different countries, using different tools, what do we still not know, and how do we get to that process?
So I think in many ways we're in a very good place. So I think that the challenges before us, in a sense, reflect this success in putting this on the agenda. So now the challenge for all of us is to move it forward, to meet the demand, and to achieve the results that we want to see. Hillary Clinton said that data not only measures progress, it inspires it. So it's kind of, on the one hand, kind of holding us to account, but on the other hand, getting us to think about, our aspirations and what we really want to do.
Absolutely. And I think it's certainly much easier if we have that bottom line and say, this is why investing in women makes a difference.